In case of SAS, this concept of libraries is again extremely important. In fact, when you are going to take your certification exam, the setup part, because you are expected to explore where are those, those tables, or because you are going to create your program based on those tables that your exam is going to give you. So how do I access those tables? Where are they? There is something called as library reference that I will have to set. So at the start of your exam itself, you have to ensure that this library reference is set clearly. Roughly speaking, this library reference is nothing but like a pointer. So let's assume that my data is in some C drive or D drive or wherever, and I want to access it. I want to access it without having the hassle of hard-coded paths. Like I don't want to every time say C drive, programming one, blah, 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 blah. I don't have to write such a long path. I want to quickly access that particular, folder or wherever is my file. I would set something called as a library. And this library reference is going to point to that path, C drive, D drive, wherever it is. And then this library reference, later on, I will be able to use it in my code whenever I want to access a particular data. Library reference, like I was mentioning it right now, generally you will say that I'm looking for a particular file. Let's just say it is in C drive, something, and this is my some file, table.sas or something, right? So instead of writing something like this, right, or whatever is the extension of the file, whatever it is that I want to write down, instead of this physical path, I will say something which will say like library 1 dot table name, tab 1 or something. So notice that. So this library reference is actually pointing to that C drive and wherever is my folder or wherever is my SAS table rather, right? So this library name or library reference, this is important. Even for exam, you have to know how do you set the library references. So libraries, you have to have quite a lot of understanding when it comes to libraries. SAS gives you some default libraries, automatic ones. One of them is like work library. So if you don't have any library or don't want to specify any library, the contents will be stored, the tables will be stored in this work library, which is kind of temp. It will be deleted at the end of your SAS session. But that's automatic because I don't do anything for that. I don't create a library, right? So these libraries are all going to be created by SAS for me. SAS help is another library that you can go ahead and access. So the environment, exam environment, like I was mentioning, you can go ahead and make use of SAS Enterprise Guide or SAS Studio or windowing environment. I don't know which editor you are comfortable with, but whichever one, the coding part obviously is going to remain the same. Library to read Excel files, because it's not that I'm forever going to work only with SAS tables. I have got multiple data sources. I have got data coming from different databases. I have got data coming from Excel. So there is this library that will help me to, in fact, point to my Excel files as well, right? So how do I read Excel files? So there is one method, which is your library name or lib name, which is called as a statement, by the way. So lib name is one method. Secondly, I also have a choice of working with something called as importing data, especially when my data is in some different formats and I'm not able to directly access them. In that event, I would be able to make use of something called as proc import. So this is again a procedure, is something called as proc import. That will help me out to work with my CSV files and come up with output table, which is going to be a SAS table. So what I'm going to do is, whatever are my data sources, I'm going to convert them into SAS table format, and then I will use it for further analysis and so on. Now, please note, this is programming, and one program can be written in multiple different ways. So I can go with lib name statements, I can go with proc import, so there are several such ways of working on things. All the best to all of you. Thank you.